What is going on, Diva Nation? This is another episode of Divas Dive, and I'm your host, Gary Cook. Tonight, we are talking about Shine 57. The event wrapped up earlier this evening, and I've had some time to process my thoughts about it, work out kind of how I took all the matches, rewatch a few spots on my video on demand of it, and just get a feel overall of how I feel the night went. So, the big thing with this show is pretty much the entire card changed like an hour or two before the show. I believe it was about 2 p.m. or so when we saw Allison Kay post to her Twitter that she was not going to make the show tonight because of travel delays and planes all being grounded in the area she was. So that has caused the whole show to pretty much change. The only matches that stayed the same was the tag team title and the Nova champion title. Other than that, every other match has been swapped around, which made for an interesting night. But with that said, they did awesome, given that pretty much every match changed from what was advertised. They still put on a great show. The majority of the matches, you couldn't tell that this wasn't what they planned. You couldn't tell that they had suddenly just swapped a bunch of things around. They did a really good job of putting together very solid matches and making a show that was very enjoyable to watch. For the most part, I loved the show. There's only really one match that I didn't enjoy at all for the most part, and there was one match that was lesser enjoyed just because the original booking had me so excited that when it got swapped around, I kind of... it was a bit of a letdown, so that's a bit more of a personal issue on me than anything against that match, but we'll talk more about that when we get to that one. So the night ended up opening up for the Tag Team Championship of Shine. You had your defending champions, Rainbow Brite, facing off against Twisted Sisters. Full disclosure, I'm not a big Rainbow Brite fan. I enjoy Luscious Latasha's work as a singles act for the most part. I do not enjoy her and Gabby together. I don't enjoy Gabby much at all. She just doesn't do it for me. Maybe I'm just not seeing the right matches of hers, but the handful of times I have seen her have mainly been in the Rainbow Brite setup, and she doesn't seem up to the level a lot of the times of the women around her, and that takes a lot away from a match for me, which was the case here again. Twisted Sisters, Thunder Rosa and Holidead, they did awesome. They did as well as could be expected with what they had to work with. It felt like a lot of the spots kind of got muddled in the match at times. There were times where the camera would kind of zoom in while Gabby was trying to figure out how to apply a submission hold or do something, and she was kind of just floundering, and then Thunder Rosa or Holidead would kind of quickly do something to escape it and kind of push her away to kind of keep the match flowing so you didn't get like an awkward spot of them all kind of just sitting there waiting for something to happen. But there was definitely a few odd moments like that, especially with Gabby in the ring, that really took me out of the match. The sad part about this is one of the matches that wasn't changed. So it wasn't like they were under the same stress and conditions of coming up with a whole new match like some of the other matches were, where we don't even really know how much time they had to put together a new match from what they had already planned and been talking about throughout the day with the original person they were going to be going up against. The Rainbow Brite came out. They just kind of remind me of a poor man's version of the New Day. They have the unicorns, they have the pastel colors, they have candy, they have glitter, they have sparkles. It's just there's a whole lot going on, but there's nothing going on that I care about. And there really didn't seem to be much going on that the live crowd cared about either, as there wasn't really any kind of response for them when they came out. There was a smattering of boos, but for the most part, it was dead on arrival. The crowd was solidly behind Twisted Sisters. When they came out, you just heard an explosion of cheers for them. It was very clear that the crowd wanted to see Twisted Sisters go over, wanted to see them get the win and get their titles back. But that was not to be the case. There wasn't a whole lot to the match, a lot of brawling on the outside. One of the cooler spots was the Twisted Sisters pinned each of the Rainbow Brite members to the ring apron and then grabbed some candy from their buckets and shoved it in their mouths. But overall, the Twisted Sisters pretty much carried the match. They had control almost the entire time. They were clearly the dominant force. It looked like they were heading on the easy lane to getting their titles back when Rainbow Brite decided to take their ball and go home. The way this match ended was a victory for Twisted Sisters, but they didn't get their belts back because it was via a countout, which the belt cannot change hands on. Pretty much Gabby and Letitia just up and walked out of the arena. They just took their belts and walked away. I mean, it got some heat. I guess if the goal was to try to build some heat on Rainbow Brite, they got a little bit more heat, but it didn't really seem like the crowd cared, because pretty much anything Rainbow Brite did was met with meh reaction. At least that's how it came across on the live stream, where everything that the Twisted Sisters did got a pretty good pop. So I'm guessing this was an attempt to build some heat on them, but it just kind of fell flat because nobody really seems to care or take them seriously. So that kind of hurt the match as a whole. Looking at the whole card, this was by far the weakest match of the night, which was sad because I'm a huge Twisted Sisters fan. I wanted to see a great match from them. I was looking forward to getting to see them in action again, especially after watching them both in Women's of Wrestling having such awesome back-to-back-to-back matches for the past few weeks. I was really looking forward to see what they could do in the ring together again. But it was not to be. I mean, it wasn't an awful match, but when looking at the rest of the card and looking back at it, it was the weakest match. And I feel like a lot of that falls to the lackluster performance that Rainbow Brite brought, where they just kind of never seemed to really know what was going on and kind of just always seemed out of place in the match. They never really got any kind of momentum building. There never really was any kind of chemistry. There was a lot of kind of just floundering at times. That it was a mess, it felt like, that the Twisted Sisters were trying to navigate through, but were unsuccessful in being able to fully carry it to being anything more than a decent match. So that was the first match. After that, we had a match that is the one that I was excited about that got changed to make way for this new main event. We got Shotzi's versus Stormy Lee. Now, I am a huge fan of Shotzi's. I have loved her work from what I've seen so far, and the original plan was her and Evilise having a match. And that just, on paper, I can't see how that could be a bad match. They both are amazing to watch. They both put so much energy into it. They're both so passionate, and they tell such great stories in the ring that I was excited to see what they could do together, because I felt like that could have easily contended for one of the best matches of the night without much trouble at all, if not one of the best matches that Shine has put out and will put out this year. That is just the caliber I think the two of them could have if they were allowed to go at it and tell an amazing story in the ring. But that was not to be. What we got was Shotzi's versus Stormy Lee. Which, it wasn't a bad match. So if I sound down on it, understand it wasn't a bad match. It just wasn't the match I was looking forward to that I was planning to see today. Because there were two matches on the card that had me really excited for Shine 57. Evilise versus Shotzi Blackheart, and Allison Kay versus Mercedes Martinez. And both of those are the matches that got juggled. So there is a bit of disappointment on my part going into this match that I was getting Shotzi versus Stormy Lee and not Shotzi versus Evilise like I had anticipated. It was still a very good match. It was very solid. It was very enjoyable. It was not a letdown. It just wasn't the match I wanted and was expecting. So Shine, you owe me. You need to rebook that. Evilise versus Shotzi Blackheart. We need to make that happen. Because that looks like that on paper, it's just, that's going to be awesome. That is a winner for everybody involved. So I'd love to see them rebook that match so that we can get it, because it seemed like a lot of fans as well from Twitter when we did our prediction thread were very excited about that match as well. So it would be a shame for it not to happen. So if you're listening, Shine, rebook that one. We want to see it. But let's talk about Shotzi versus Stormy Lee. It was good. It was enjoyable. I always enjoy watching Shotzi work. She's hysterical. She puts a lot of energy into her matches. There's a lot of passion there that you can see. Stormy Lee, as always, does very good heel work. She plays that kind of cowardly, slippery heel very well. At the beginning, the ref warned her about something, and she went outside the ring and pouted and refused to get in till the ref said sorry. It was a fun little spot that played up kind of her being that entitled heel that is going to dictate the pace of her matches. As always, she also brings a level of brutality to some of her forearm strikes and hits that really come across as looking pretty painful. So it was a very good match. They worked well together. They put together a match that was very enjoyable. We got to see a few of the high spots from Shotzi with the cannonballs to the corner, things like that we all have come to enjoy from her. And in the end, Shotzi went over. And it was a solid match, top to bottom. If this was the match that was booked from the beginning, I'm pretty sure I would have enjoyed it because my expectations would have been tailored to this match. But my expectations were tailored to Evilise versus Shotzi, and not to take anything away from Stormy Lee, she's not at that same level of in-ring storytelling that Evilise is at, because Evilise is one of the top women in wrestling, hands down, period, has been for a number of years now. So I was going in with an expectation of a very high bar for the Shotzi match, and it did end up being a little bit lower just because of the changes. But very strong match, very enjoyable match. The crowd definitely got back into it during this match, which was very good to see. But it's hard not to with the energy and the playfulness that Stormy brings to it and the energy that Shotzi brought to it, that it definitely picked the crowd back up from what was a bit of a lull from the tag team champion match prior to it. Then this also led us into the next match, which turned into a triple threat. We got Brandi Lauren, we got Allie Rex, and we got Riley Sheppard. This one, this match probably showed the last minute shuffle the most to it. And the interesting thing about it is I feel like Allie Rex was the common denominator for the triple threat match. Allie and Brandi have done quite a few things together, and Allie and Riley have done quite a few things together. So going into this, I was looking at Allie Rex versus Riley Sheppard, was what I was expecting to see. I was expecting a strong showing from them, as the matches I've seen from them in the past have been very good, very physical, very exciting to watch. And I was expecting to see Riley go over in her debut and, no pun intended, shine in her shine introduction. I was excited for her to be on a stage of this level to get highlighted. I feel like she definitely deserves it. She's worked hard and she's putting out some great matches that I don't feel like a lot of people have had the chance to see yet. And I was really excited for her to be able to be on display at the level that Shine offers her. But a lot of this match, sadly, was spent more between Allie and Brandi going at it, with Riley kind of passing through every now and then to kind of remind us that she was there. Riley really stepped up at the end and had a strong finish. I just wish that they would have incorporated the triple threat aspect a bit more throughout the whole match. A lot of time was spent on Brandi working over Allie and then wandering off to kind of punch or kick or throw Riley off the apron to the outside again. So I kind of felt like had they had more time to work out spots and work out things to do, we would have seen a lot more interactions and a much more solid triple threat aspect, where it never really felt like a triple threat. It kind of felt like Allie versus Brandi with Riley coming and going. As I said, until the end where Riley kind of came in, knocked Brandi out of the ring for a little bit, went to work and looked like she was going to come out of nowhere to steal the match before Brandi came back to get the pin and win it for herself. Another solid outing from Allie. Another great showing from Brandi. I feel like Brandi is definitely one of the up-and-comers inside of women's wrestling on the independent scene. There's so much potential there. I really enjoyed the promo she cut before the event, setting it up her match with what was supposed to be Su Yung. And then the showing she had here was very solid. It highlighted her strong points, and it was an enjoyable match. I just wish they would have had a few more kind of the franticness that a triple threat can have at times was definitely missing at times, and that took away from the match. But it wasn't a bad match. It was solid. It's a minor critique, but given the nature of how this became a triple threat, I'm a bit more forgiving of it not feeling like a triple threat at times because of the shuffling of the card on that last minute notice that Allison was going to be here, and then this having to be shifted into a triple threat to make way for the main event. But it was a good match. I definitely, if you haven't seen Riley's work, go watch this. You kind of get a good teaser of what's to come. I'm looking forward to her having more matches in Shine and doing more things. Sorry if I keep looking down. My cat is playing with my foot. And I keep forgetting she's down there. But definitely good match overall. And Brandi came out to win it. I'm okay with that. She's been on a roll, and I like to see what she's been building towards, and I think she's definitely a future star that Shine has on their hands there as she has been climbing the ladder. The next match was the Denova Championship match. We had what was hashtag Team Spam advertised, but they were going by Team AAA because you had Aja Pereira, Ariel Monroe, and they were with Ayla versus the Cutie Pie Club of Kiera Hogan, Dementia DeRose, and Candy Cartwright. Now, going into this match, you had what was already the stipulation for every Nova match of whoever gets the pin gets the belt. You had the stipulation that if any of the Cutie Pie Club were the ones that got pinned, Candy Cartwright would have to leave Shine for 90 days. When the match started, there was a bit of a kind of a convoluted exchange between them all that kind of didn't go as smoothly as I think was planned or how anybody would have liked it. But by the end of it, it was agreed that if anybody in Cutie Pie Club pinned any member of AAA, then Candy Cartwright would be the champion, not the person that got the pinfall, which was a little upsetting to her team. And then it was also added that if anybody from Team AAA pinned any of Cutie Pie Club, then all of the Cutie Pie Club was out of Shine for 90 days. So once they got that all out of the way, the match went out. This was a great tag match. I really enjoyed this one. Dementia showed off some amazing agility at points that I was not expecting from her. I'm not super familiar with her work, so I was shocked to see some of that. But she came through and put on a really good show. Kiera Hogan, she has been one of my favorites in 2019 that has surprised me. I've gotten to see a lot of her work in WoW now and a lot more in Impact now that she's been involved in the Dark War with Rosemary and Allie. and she's become a very solid performer. I'm excited to see where 2019 takes her because I feel like she's definitely on the verge of breaking out. But with that said, Team AAA was largely in control for the match when Kiera was in there, just because she was outsized and the bigger girls were kind of tossing her about. Dementia was definitely the equalizer for their team, coming in with a few near pinfalls to move the Nova Championship over to the Cutie Pie Club. But in the end, AAA got themselves the win. They retained their Nova Championship, and Team Cutie Pie was out of Shine for the next 90 days. This was a very well done tag match. It had a good pacing. It had good moments. They built their spots well. The teams played off each other well. The teams played amongst themselves well with their partners. It was a very solid tag team match. It was much more of the kind of match I would have liked to have seen from the tag team championship match in the opener. But you saw a lot of really good tag team chemistry between the girls in this match, and it was enjoyable. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it was a very strong tag team match. The only real downside is Candy Cartwright screeched a lot. And she always screeches, but I guess maybe she was closer to an open mic or closer to a camera in this showing, that they did get a little annoying at times, but that was my only complaint, but nothing against the match itself. At the end, AAA took their belt and went out celebrating. Cutie Pie Club was all very upset at Candy Cartwright, so it will be interesting to see what happens with them when they come back to Shine in 90 days. After that match, we went to the main event. And this went from a main event I was excited about, of being Allison Kay versus Mercedes Martinez, to a main event that was just amazing and tore the place down. It turned into a 4-way elimination match between Mercedes Martinez, Evilise, Su Yung, and Priscilla Kelly. Now, Priscilla Kelly, I love. She is by far one of the up-and-comers on the indie scene that I have enjoyed a ton of her work. I really like that she got showcased here. I feel like a lot of the controversy she causes sometimes overshadows what a good wrestler she is. Between the Mae Young Classic incident and the most recent Joey Ryan incident, I feel like a lot of people have written her off as kind of just being a shock value worker. But if they get to see this match, she got to show off her technical work. She got to show off some of her high spots, and she kind of got to play bits of one-upmanship with Su Yung on just kind of that crazy shock value that she brings to a match. So I was thrilled that she was given the chance to really show off among this caliber of competition. Because Su Yung, Evilise, and Mercedes Martinez are some of the strongest women out there that are not known in the WWE. So I was really excited to see her put on that level and get the chance to shine at Shine. Cat, don't play with the microphone. So I was excited to see her there. Su Yung is always excited to watch, as she is just awesome at whatever it is she does. I don't always understand it, but I always enjoy it. So I was excited that she was going to be in this match. Evilise is one of my favorites, so I was fully looking forward to seeing her work. And then Mercedes Martinez has grown on me in the past and has definitely been deserving of the push and the title shot she was supposed to have here. And I'm sure that would have been an awesome match had we gotten that. So this match, for being put together at the last minute, for being what it was amazing. They pulled this together and they put on a heck of a show. Priscilla Kelly got a few awesome high spots in. She was cleaning house up until she got herself eliminated. She was the first one out. The crowd was really into what she was doing, and when she was eliminated, a chorus of boos rang out that they were not happy to see her go so soon. And that was really exciting to see how into what she was doing the crowd was. From there, we got a bit of a 2-on-1 as throughout this match, Evilise and Mercedes, they had that tag team background together. They've been friends for so long that they had that ebb and flow you'd expect in a match of this, of going from working together to having that tension that happens when friends and tag team partners fight. And I really was enjoying that dynamic. All four women were telling a great story in this match, and they had everybody invested in it, and it was awesome. Su Yung started to do her thing, kind of keeping both parties at bay on opposite sides of the ring. She got the glove out and got it on Evilise. And then Mercedes made the save there. And then Sue went to do the glove to Mercedes, but didn't go so well that time, and she got herself pinned. Which then left us with Mercedes Martinez and Evilise. And you could tell the two of them have worked together before, and they've worked together often, both as a team and against each other, because they put on a great match. They closed this show out with an awesome match. They told an amazing story of kind of Evilise being the mentor, Mercedes being the partner that's kind of always been in her shadow, and Mercedes trying really hard to escape that shadow. And then at the end of the match, Evilise won, but they continued that story of Mercedes yelling that Evilise always takes her spotlight away and never lets her shine. And this was very much supposed to be Mercedes' chance to shine. She was going to face off against Alice, and it was her chance to get the belt. It was kind of supposed to be her coronation of coming out as a champion of equal level to Evilise, and instead she ended up getting pinned by Evilise to close this night out. So the frustration was there, the bit of tension was there. It was a great story told. You could tell that Evilise was bittersweet in her victory, and that she was happy she won. Itch there, sorry. But she was really upset that she had to do it by taking her friend out. So I'm curious to see where they go with that, what builds of it. But it was an amazing match. It is worth the video on demand price just to go see that match. So I highly recommend getting Shine 57 if you haven't seen it. Go and rent the VOD and enjoy it. It is well put together. The matches are a lot of fun. All the girls come out and they shine well. It's a solid card. As I said, outside of that first match, I really didn't have anything I didn't like. It was very well paced, and for the short notice they had to the changes in these matches, I thought it was an awesome night. Highly recommended. But go ahead and check those out. If you did see the show, comment down below. Let me know, what was your favorite match? What was your least favorite match? What match were you looking forward to that might have gotten shifted? And did you like what ended up happening because of that shift? We want to know. We'll comment and talk to you down below. Give the like button a push. Give the subscribe button a smash, so you can stay up to date on women's wrestling here with us at Divas Unleashed. This has been Divas Dive, episode 4. I'm Gary Cook, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Have a great night.